What I want to do to you today is provide for you an opportunity with our pastors to come and chat and pray. Because some of you, I feel from my heart, are battling some stuff. If you're alive right now, this world, this generation that we live in is fighting many, many battles. And at Christmas, you know, one of the things about being older, you realize when you talk to people, everybody's got something they're facing. What better place, what better environment than here in the house of God to feel I'm not just here as a person or a number, but I get the chance to talk maybe to Pastor Mark, probably not to me, but we've assigned so many wonderful pastors, over 20 pastors in our church now. And you get the chance today to talk to a few of them, because some of your hearts are breaking. Some of you find Christmas a real challenge because of emotion. And I know I've spent 40 years, 40 Christmases speaking the Christmas message. And I also know there's pressure on me this morning from you to think, hey, give us Mary and Joseph, the shepherds, the angels, the nativity, all of that, you know, which we've done. And I'm sorry to disappoint anybody this morning, but I'm going somewhere very, very different today. But I want you to know the message I'm bringing is a message of Christmas hope to every one of you. Message of Christmas hope from my heart, from our family, from our God to your heart. And I pray it'll help you and lift you. I'm going to hang up 3 Christmas stockings this morning. Not physically, not literally. I like to operate in thought patterns whereby you hang thoughts on a hook so that you can kind of remember, hey, what did he put on that hook there? And I've just got 3 of them. So I'm going to go to a place this morning. And the title of my message today is this one here. Don't stop at sad. Don't stop at sad. As I've prayed about this weekend, I feel that some of you have parked your life at sad. And I'm sad that you've done that. Luke chapter 7. Do you want to stand for the whole of the message because it's so short, or do you want to sit down in a moment? In a moment. In a moment. It says soon afterward, New Testament, Luke chapter 7, soon afterwards, Jesus went to a town called Nain. And his disciples and a large crowd went along with him. As he approaches the town gate with a crowd going in, a dead person, a what? A dead person was being carried out. Notice the feelings, the emotion, the raw sense of loss that's going on here. The only son of his mother. And she was a widow. Nothing left. Nobody else. I'm done. I'll never get over this. And a large crowd from the town was with her. So we've got a crowd going out with Jesus and a crowd going in with Jesus and a crowd going out with her to the funeral. And when the Lord saw her, when Jesus saw her, he went, I don't have time for people like that. His heart, say his heart. His heart. Hello. His heart went out to her. Not his mind, his heart and said to her 2 words, "Don't cry." Then he went up and touched, I don't quite like this word in the Bible, the beer. Because some of you thinking of a pint. No, a beer in the old days it wasn't a wooden casket with a lid on, it was an open stretcher that they carried the dead on. That's called a beer. Jesus said, "I'm only here for the beer." It's an old advert. Heineken. Not that I know anything about these things. I've got a television. And the bearer stood still. And he said, "Young man, get up." I say to you, get up. And the dead man sat up and began to talk. And Jesus gave him back to his mother. If ever there was a passage of scripture that reveals to you what God is like at Christmas, it is this one here. Christmas shows you what God is like. And if you want to know what God is like, listen to the words of Jesus that said in the New Testament time and again, "Anybody that's seen me has seen God." Young men, young ladies, young adults, right the way through the ages, listen to me carefully. When you look into the eyes of Jesus, you see God. And how did God deal with a lonely, widow, bereaved lady? He said, "Guys, I feel something." The funeral crowd meets the Jesus crowd. And sometimes, if that ain't Jesus calling, turn it off. And sometimes Jesus will stop and says to you, "Don't stop at sad. Don't stop at sad. Don't stop at sad." If you want to know what the heart of God is like towards you, Isaiah, the prophet in the Bible, 800 years before Christ ever came, prophesied, Isaiah 9:6. He said, "There will be unto us a child born. Unto us a son will be given." Listen to his name. "And his name will be Wonderful Counsellor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, and finally the Prince of Peace." When you receive Jesus into your heart, you'll never know another day. Or you'll know another day of pain, and you'll know plenty of problems, and you will know sadness. That's a promise. But he's a wonderful counselor. You can talk to the Holy Spirit every day inside of you, and he will counsel your life. Okay, thanks so much. David's going to stay with me. Please take your seats. Don't chat to anybody. I feel Jesus in this place this morning. In my weakness, he will be my strength. Paul said, "When I am weak, then am I strong." We just go down and touch David. Thank you. It's nice to see they gave you a stool today. It's Christmas. You know, if you've been alive for any length of time, you'll know that sadness becomes part of your life. You'll also know, if you've gone past childhood, you don't notice it when you're a child. You start to notice it when you're a teenager, and you definitely notice it in your 20s, 30s, and then you pretty much have got it rock solid sure when you're in your 50s and your 60s. And it is this: the event called Christmas doesn't fix things. It makes things worse. The lonely become lonelier. The angry become angrier. It's a bit like marriage. Oh, I've met a wonderful woman. She'll fix me. No, she won't. She'll make you worse. An angry single man, stop nudging. An angry single man will become a really, really angry married man. You with me? Because there are certain things in life that actually accentuate your problem. Marriage is one of them. If you're an untidy so-and-so as a single person, have a guess what? Let's forget marriage for a moment, if you know what I mean. Christmas, the event, watch my lips, doesn't solve your problems. Christmas, the event, doesn't fix your heart. The angry get agitated. The depressed get more depressed. Those on drugs already start to take more because of the holiday and they can't cope. Those who are feeling sad about everything get more sad as they reminisce family that are no longer with us. You understand what I'm saying? The event of Christmas will not make you better. It'll make you more excited. But it's a spike. It's like sugar. It spikes you. It's like caffeine. It'll give you a spike. But have a guess what? You're probably going to feel worse at the end of December than when you started December, because you've had a spike. You know, it's a come down afterwards. Oh, back to work, back to normality, all of that kind of stuff. So the event won't change you, apart from for a couple of days. But the person will. The person of Christmas is a person, not an event. He's a person that is personable. And I'm not talking about Santa Claus. And by the way, Santa Claus was a real person. Many of you know this, but for those of you who don't, let me educate you about Santa Claus. Santa Claus was Saint Nicholas. Saint Nicholas, spelled Niklaus. And it got abbreviated to Santa Claus. Saint Nicholas, Saint Nicholas, Saint Nicolaus was a Christian that devoted his life to giving gifts to the poor. And they made him into a saint. Maybe you'll be a saint one day. Which reminds me of a funeral service once where two really naughty, nasty people, grown men that have become horrible, twins. And one of these guys, criminals, died. But his mother only saw the good in them. And she said to the pastor who was leading the funeral, I want you to call my son a saint. Would you do that? He said, that's going to be very, very difficult. I mean, I know you see the best in them, but these, your sons, these are bad men. The day of the funeral came. He started to talk about the deceased. And then he came out with a line. And compared to his brother, he was a saint. He did it. I'm not talking about Father Christmas, Santa Claus. I'm talking about the name, the person of whom Christmas is all about. Christ Mass. Take out Christ from Christ Mass, and you get the word MAS, which is an abbreviation of MASSE, Mass meaning festival or celebration. So you get the celebration without the person. It's a bit like turning up to my birthday party when I'm not here. Celebrating without me, without you. I encourage you today. I encourage you with two things. Don't look for the answers in the event. Look for the answers in the person. His name is Jesus. He's a wonderful, wonderful counselor. He's a mighty God, the everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. And so I'm going to bring to you one verse. I have so many thoughts today from my heart to yours. Is that okay? But at 11:45, I'm going to permit my wife to jump up out of her seat and shout, time. Because I want after church today to be a very special few moments. Because it just feels like that today. Some of you want to sit in the auditorium and just pray or quietly chat. I don't think Christmas should be a time for quiet, but it needs to be. Maybe this is the pre-quiet before the mayhem. You with me? Church family, are you with me today? Yes. Come on, everybody. So I'm going to talk to you from one very short verse, and then I'm going to dissect it into three parts, give you three Christmas stockings. And I'm going to go to John 16, I believe it is. Is that correct? John 16. Jesus said in John's Gospel, listen, I've told you all these things so that in me you may have peace. And then he gave us a promise. Are you ready? Many of us think the promises of God are all amazing. Well, here's one amazing promise. Are you ready for it? Ready, Dave? In this world, you will have trouble. That's a promise. Guaranteed. If I ask for a show of hands, how many of you are troubled right now with a capital T in your family, in your life? You'd say, yeah, I've received the promise. Don't you ever say God doesn't keep his promises. In this world, you will have trouble. At mill. But take heart. I have overcome the world. Please don't forget this verse over Christmas, because we're all in the same boat, because we all live in this world. But I want to bring to you a message of hope that will last you all the way through and for the rest of your life. The first letter, the first word I'm going to bring to you is the word trouble. I'm going to dissect just three portions, three words. The word trouble, when translated into Latin from the Greek, the ancients came up with the Latin word strictus. I almost went. It's all right, I got sensors on the end of my toes. Strictus, trouble. It means to squeeze or press, from which we get the word restrict. And you will know, like I do, if you've lived long enough and breathed enough, that there will be many situations that you face financially, health-wise, mentally, family-wise, spiritually, whereby you feel strictus, trouble. Can't seem to get out of this. I don't know how we're going to cope this year, is the words I hear all the time. I don't know what we're going to do this year. I don't know whether I'm even going to live to see Christmas. We had a moment in our house last year. Tried to do it without crying myself right now, but my mom, as you know, has not been too well, and she's 93. And neither my mom and dad are here this morning. And at our house, they were there last Christmas Day, and on the Christmas evening, she sat with her head in her hands. Oh, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this. And she said, I don't think I'll ever see the grandchildren again. It's all right. I'm used to crying. Don't worry about me. I'm fine. I think every man should cry. But you know, we thank God. We're very, very blessed her. Another year, and she's got to meet Edison. Still alive. Strictus. Getting to a place where you feel there's no way out. There was a band in the 1970s, Pastor Tim will tell me, it was called Dire Straits. You're always good on these old rock bands. About 1970 something. Seem to think Dire Straits. The music was Dire Straits. Dire Straits. The word or the name Dire Straits, we use it. Oh, I'm in dire straits. Dire meaning, there's no way out. Straits come from, it's water terminology. It's a stretch of very narrow water that is fed on one side from one body of water and on the other another body of water. And so in the middle, it is a very, very tight, dangerous strait of water. That's where we get the word dire straits from. But dire straits originated from this word, trouble. That's why we say I'm in dire straits. Finances are in dire straits. Families in dire straits. Health, dire straits. So we get all these terminology coming from this one word, trouble. It means I don't know, I don't see a way out. And this year, as I've traveled through, very gratefully to speak to so many people, either in our church family or out there, or by reading, watching the news, whatever, you can't get away from the fact that people all feel in dire straits. What kind of hope is there? Are we going to really see World War III? Hey, it's no surprise to God, you know. In this world, you will feel tight, squeezed, dire straits. No way out, nobody to help. In this world, you will have trouble. Which leads me to a story that I asked my dad about this week, because we've always been told this story in our family. Because my dad, although second to Jesus, my dad's like Jesus Jr. I was thinking he'd be here this morning, so I could say, this is a true story. You could ask him, but it is a true story. My dad lived in this town. In fact, his dad died in his 50s, and his mom ran the post office, which is just opposite. I think it's just been turned into a off license or something. His mom wouldn't be happy about that, I know that. And the story's told when my dad was 10, which is 83 years ago. They had to have an extension on the back of the post office because they lived there as well. And with the extension came a new chimney and all that kind of stuff. Well, my dad was the town tearaway. Dennis was the original Dennis the Menace. Some of you don't believe that. Now he's Jesus Jr. But he was. If anybody is a sign of what it's like to be converted, my dad is. The stuff that he got into, the harm that he caused, the stuff is unbelievable. Well, on one day, 10 years of age, he decided, while his mother was busy in the post office, he wanted to find out. I think he wanted to be the original Santa Claus as well. He decided he wanted to go up a chimney and decided, I wonder what it's like going up a chimney. Maybe he was thinking as a young boy about Father Christmas coming down the chimney, so he went up the chimney to discover that chimneys aren't built straight, as you probably know. There's a bend in them in order to get the draft going up the chimney. So he gets halfway up, gets to the bend, and gets stuck. There's a new song coming out after this one, when Dennis got stuck up the chimney. True story. I asked him this week, and my mom is always quick to tell the tale. Oh, yes. He was a very thin boy, but he felt that day what it is to describe, in this world you will have trouble. He couldn't move one way or another. He was stuck. And I said to him, remind us how you got out. He said, well, Mr. Woodall next door got called. Help. And he lowered a rope down, got onto the roof and lowered a rope down the chimney. And Mr. Woodall pulled my dad out, upwards, not down, when Dennis got stuck up the chimney. If ever I haven't thought about that story for years, decades. If ever there was a picture of Christmas, it is this. You can't get out of this. So God lowered the rope. In this world, you will get stuck. In this world, you will be in dire straits, friends. In this world, you will have sadness. But Jesus is the rope. You couldn't go up and you couldn't go down. So he knew what to do. He looked down your chimney and pulled you up. And every person that gives their lives to Jesus Christ knows what it feels like to be pulled up. Stop trying to get yourself there when you're in dire straits. You can't climb out. His name will be Jesus, for he will save his people from their sins. Trouble. I know I'm speaking to many people because the Holy Spirit shared this with my heart this week, and I know when that happens, I know I'm going to be speaking to many of you today. The second stocking in the remaining 5 minutes that I have. Take heart. It would be a funeral service here today. It would be morbid church. And we always say, this isn't a library. Shush. It's not a mausoleum or a museum. This is life. And you have to know the bad news before the good news becomes good news. You have to know you're stuck in dire straits. You need to know you can't get up or down. You need to know there's a God who loves you, that lowered the rope, and He came down to save you, to pull you up. So Jesus has only the right to say this. Nobody else has the right. Take heart. I say to you, everybody here today and everybody online, listen, no matter what it's like, I've missed men's prayer. I have to tell you guys, I've missed men's prayer for 2 weeks. The first time I can remember in my life not being there because I wasn't feeling well enough to get out of bed. And the second week, last week, because we had a staff day away and it fell on the same day and we had to be out early. And I want you to tell you guys that I feel this week as if I've missed out greatly. I feel as if I've had my right arm cut off because I wasn't with the guys at prayer. Because that's where we take heart. And I heard last week that they had this mini revival. Thank God it doesn't need me to be there for a mini revival. When a young man named Will testified that he was about to take his life through suicide, but Jesus lowered him the rope. Take heart. Take heart. Take heart. Let me dissect in the last 3 minutes for you what the words take heart means. It means this. It means to be emboldened inside. To take courage on the inside. And it carries with it such amazing feelings of, it literally means this, to have a sense of warmth inside of you, that it encourages you that no matter how stuck you are, you can actually feel warm on the inside because I can take heart. I say to you today, friends, take heart. It's not as bad as you think, it's worse. Hello. It could be worse because not every widow gets a resurrection. And I'll tell you why. Because this is also what happens as you get older in life. You realize that bad things happen to good people without explanation. Until we meet Him face to face. The Bible says in the book of Corinthians, though we see Him now through a glass darkly, but one day when I see Him, I shall see Him face to face. It's like looking now through darkened glass and you can't quite see. I'm sure Jesus is there, but I can't quite make Him out. Take heart. You know, one day in heaven, when you give your life to Him, you're assured of heaven. You'll see Him face to face and it'll all makes sense. The other thing I found is not only do bad things happen to good people, good things happen to bad people. You look at your neighbor, sometimes you're thinking you cuss and you swear, you do everything, you dodge the tax man and you're an idiot. And yet don't worry. Take heart. It's 1:45. Christmas miracles are almost going to happen. I tell you what we'll do. If we all stand and if I ask for, you're sharp. You know what they do? They wear these earpieces on the platform and they whisper to each other. And they go, take him down, take him down. Don't you nod your head at me. I heard you. Shall we stand? And the third stocking for you to remember this year. In a tight spot, dire straits, things haven't worked out. There's no resurrection for you. Jesus says, don't cry. But there's the one thing that he wants you to do. Don't stop. Don't park your life at sad. That's the one thing that God does not want you to do today. And some of you have long since parked there and you've wallowed in your own self-pity, and who would blame you because you've gone through a lot. But today, my friend, can I share with you this message to help you to put your life in first gear and say, I ain't stopping here anymore. Because the third word and the third phrase is, Jesus said, take heart because I have overcome the world. In this world, cosmos, you will have trouble, but take heart because I have overcome the world. He's overcome it in your life. Overcome is literally meaning I have secured the victory. I have given you the victory. Now listen, in the words of that beautiful pastor, Pastor Andre Olivier, pastor of 20,000 people, and he's going to be with us early this year in our church. He's flying through and coming here. I love Pastor Andre, and he preached an incredible message. And he said this, there are some things you'll never get over, but you have to get past. There's some things you won't get over. The death of that child, nobody tells you get over it. Something's gone wrong. It would be wrong to say, oh, just get over it. But it would be right to say, get past it. We're going to lower the rope today. Take heart. Give your life to Jesus today. Say, Jesus, here's the simple prayer. Jesus, I'm sorry I've tried to get out the chimney on my own. And I'm stuck. I'm stuck in sin. Lower the rope, Jesus, today. Lower the rope, Jesus, today. I need you. Pull me out. Pull me out. I need you, Jesus, today. There's never been a moment, never been a minute. Come on, the band are going to continue to just play and worship in the background. Tried my best to finish early, and I have. So because of that, what I'm going to ask you to do is stick around. Be encouraged. Encourage somebody else this morning. These people are not here just to look, not just to look pretty, but they're here because they love you. They're the heartbeat of our church. And if you're suffering, going through some stuff, or you're stuck in sad, they're going to lift you. They're going to pray with you, help you. Myself, Pastor Jillian, are going to be hanging around here too. So we're going to encourage you. Hang around on site just for a few moments. Go on. Do something different today. Don't rush off to the car park. Hang around in the auditorium if you want to. Or if you've got children that need prayer, go and find them in the kids program. Bring them out. Come back to the auditorium. We'll be here for a few moments. God bless you. I love you. Have an amazing day. Come on, let's just stay worshiping. There we go.